Why I failed to post the tweet. Oh, fine. You can, yeah, the tweet one already. It can be. Alright, we are starting soon. You know, the font doesn't scale that well on the web.
You said what?
That font, the joystick and mouse, the Arial, doesn't scale that well when it gets blown up.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's get into it here.
Let's do a thing.
Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1. Howdy folks, and welcome back to Joystick and Mouse, video game news and reviews for all you filthy casuals out there. I'm Don, I go by Diddy in the gaming community. With me this evening as always is Jay Dimes.
What's going on?
This is episode 141, and today is July 12th, 2022. And on the program today, Stadia tries to up its game. See how hard that was to say? Up Stadia. Typical week with Blizzard where they win some and lose some. Another game studio gets gobbled up, and we have a list of games that fell a little long today. So,
Fair enough.
so what's been going on?
Well, in
God.
this week's news of people can't do shit right, the inspector came back yesterday
Yeah.
and said it still ain't right.
Oh God.
They fixed most of it, but not all of it. And there is something that he thinks maybe he can let go. But one thing that he is definitely not letting go. So we shall see.
So
We shall see.
this is the new electrical panel that they put in, right?
Yeah.
So did he? Okay.
And then he
the
actually
curiosity's
fixed
getting the
something
better of me.
that they didn't actually tell him he needed to fix.
What's the thing that he can't let go?
The way that he has the main breaker mounted in the box is. Hold on a second. What is playing? Oh, my phone has decided it wants to talk. Hold on.
Hi, Tim's phone.
Oh. So the way that he has it mounted in the box is like there's some sort of bracket that he's using that's not standard.
Oh.
And they're like, no, it has to be a standard mounting bracket. Like, you can't make a bracket. Like, it needs to be something that is.
Isn't it something he should know?
Yeah, it is. It
You
is
would
definitely
think.
something you should know. So,
You would think. I wonder about people sometimes.
yeah. Vanessa's waiting to hear back from the insurance company because we're like, yo, can we just have our electrician to take care of this stuff?
Yeah,
Like-
so that's sort of the thing about insurance companies, right? All they care about is the bottom dollar, so they want the person that can do it the cheapest.
Yeah, but you would think.
Not
Like,
going
and I
to be
get
the
that
person.
when you're putting down like carpet or floor and you're painting, all that bullshit. Yeah, whatever. But when you're talking about the actual thing that caused
Yeah.
the fire, like you're like, yo, do you want to be back here 6 months from now, or 4 years from now, and had a colossal issue, and y'all gonna be on the hook for it again? with more culpability because you hired a
Yeah, really.
shitty electrician
Yeah,
to
because
do it.
you
I don't
did
know.
it.
Right. Yeah, this is not. Listen, there's stuff that was done in this house that I'm like, yo, I don't know how it was okay. Although, what I've heard is that the codes for electrical were much more lax.
They were.
Um,
Our house was built in the 90s, and even then the codes were much more lax than they are now.
yeah,
I told you about ours when we had an electrician come out to run some lines, some data lines upstairs to the office. And when he went up in the attic, he said, "Do you know that your attic fan isn't hooked up?" And I'm like, "What do you mean isn't hooked up?" He goes, "Well, it's not hooked up and it will never come on because the sensor's not where it needs to be to actually turn the fan on." So we actually had to get him to hook the fan up and put the sensor
but at some
where it
point it
belonged.
was never hooked up.
It was never hooked up. Was never running.
So they put it in when they built the house and just
No, they
never.
didn't. They didn't. So we had
So you think the previous owners started to install and just gave up?
no. So what? This is a so several years ago we had a big windstorm and it um tore the vent off the top of the roof. So we had them come out and fix that vent. Well, when they were here, they said, "Hey, you guys don't have an attic fan. Would you want us to put one in?" And we're like, "Sure." And it was only like a couple $100 more, and they were here already, so we didn't have to pay for them to come out or anything. They were
Right.
here to do the insurance fix, and we're like, "Sure." Actually that sounds great. Um, so so, but they never hooked it up. They put it in, installed it, and never hooked it up. So what's really killer about this is, and I wish I could find the company's name because I probably would write them a review somewhere. Um, we had another company come out and replace the roof last year, and they came and when he went up and then came back down to do the estimate, he goes, if you have a roof vent, you don't need an attic fan.
Oh, that's BS.
Said you only need one or the other. And actually having both of them is bad because the attic fan will just draw the heat. It'll just, draw it right out of the roof vent. It won't pull the air correctly. So the company that was here originally to replace the roof vent knew that and sold it to us anyways. It's really irritating.
So here's a funny thing, though. I was actually watching a video this morning, and the guy was saying the direct opposite. He had one of those roof vents, kind of like a pop up.
The ridge vent, yeah.
A ridge vent. He had a ridge vent.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I was watching two of them. I watched two different ones where people with ridge vents were installing attic fans.
Yeah, and the guy said you only need one or the other.
But they were using both. These people had the need for both because the ridge vent was not allowing enough hot air out of the house.
Yeah, he said actually well, I don't know. That's what the second company said. If all it's going to do is suck the air out of the ridge vent, out of the attic fan. It's just going to pull the air and pull right out, and you're not actually going to pull the heat out of the attic.
Well, I don't know.
So,
I watched a couple of videos where the two guys would disagree with that.
So that's interesting. So if anybody knows, somebody out there actually knows, let us know what the actual thing is. So, so I finished Stranger Things this week,
I've never started.
and this is going to be a really unpopular opinion. I did not like it.
It was whack.
It could have been epic. It just they set it up well. It was going really well, and then they copped out. I feel like the writers just completely copped out at the end. Just like, if you didn't see that coming 1,000 miles away, it was. It just, man, they had it. They had it in their grasp. And I think I've heard this from a lot of people. Is they were just almost there, and then took the easy way out.
There are a lot of shows that get to the end, and they don't figure out how to close the deal.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Well, okay. So this is the thing about Game of Thrones. I give them a pass in some ways, and still give them a super F in others. So I think what the end of Game of Thrones showed is that those guys that were the producers of those shows, or the guys in charge, Benioff, and I can't remember the other guy's name, I don't think they had a lot of creativity, right? Because the decline of the show occurred pretty much right where they stopped having Martin's books to pull from, right? So he hasn't finished the story. They just couldn't come up with a coherent way to finish the story either, or just didn't put any effort into it, one or the other. So although I like that show, I don't know that they really should get any credit for the show being good, because, you know, when left to their own devices, they couldn't figure anything out.
I personally didn't hate the final status of everything.
Boo.
I didn't hate the final status. I just hated how they got there.
What did you like about the final status? Like, what about that final status was okay?
I wasn't. I actually was okay with Bran being king. I was okay with Daenerys being dead. I just didn't think it should happen that way. I was okay with Jon being, okay, Game of Thrones has been over for long enough. Yes, this is spoilers. Just deal with it.
Jon got, okay, that might have been one of my biggest beefs with the show, is that Jon went through more than anybody else, and at the end got nothing. They essentially sent him off to die.
Well, he is the whatever the hell it was called of the black.
No, he gave that up.
Didn't he go back to the wall? He went back to the wall, right?
Nah, he went back beyond the wall.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I think the punishment that they tried to met out was to send him back to the wall, and he was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna keep walking."
Going, right? Yeah.
Which I think is terrible. Like, he's the only guy that made really made good, reasonable decisions.
Yeah. See them
throughout the show.
So here is Game of Thrones creators. Here's your thing. They should have offered him the crown and throne, and he should have turned it down and gone back to the wall to lead the crows. That would have been a better ending. Would have been a better story.
I mean, it shouldn't have been a matter of offering it. It was actually his birthright.
It was his birthright. Yeah, true. It was his birthright, and he should have, abdicated it and said, I don't want this, and gone to live out his
I
days.
feel like he was the only one left that was fit to be king. The other thing that really irked me about the end of that show was them pushing Missandra off that wall.
Well, it has that other things, but
so really, that show would have been okay with me if she and Grey Worm had just sailed off into the sunset.
Yep, that would have been fine.
That would have been perfectly fine with me.
Actually,
Um,
what would have been
yeah,
great would have been, and you could have rolled a whole nother series out of this if they'd have returned to take back. I can't remember the lands where they
yeah,
came
me
from,
neither.
but if they would have returned there to take those back, that would have been a better ending. That would have been a better story.
And the other problem I have with them pushing her off that wall is that they took the guy who is probably the most honorable character in the show, and like they just sent him off into rage.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did all
Yes.
sorts of things that he really would have never done had he not seen his woman
Yep.
pushed off that wall.
Yes. True.
Like Grey Worm was the best character on that show.
He
He
definitely was
was
one of
the
my
badass.
favorite. Yeah.
He was the badass. In my opinion, he had the finest woman on the show on his arm.
There's that.
And yeah, I think they just screwed that up. They screwed up the great love story of Game of Thrones.
They did, and they could have, and
The
they had a
only
history of doing that. They did it a lot.
non-incestuous love story
Yes.
on that show,
They did it, a
and
lot.
they went out wrong.
They did it a lot, and it was almost like they could have let it. They could have let the fans have one, and they didn't.
Listen,
Right?
the brother and sister got the fairy tale ending, and they were brother and sister.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they got the pure Shakespeare tragic ending,
which
right?
also is another thing for me. We could do a whole episode about Game of Thrones. We could do a whole episode about Game of Thrones.
I'm not sure. Well, actually, we could tie this into video games because there's a Game of Thrones video game coming.
Oh, well.
Right.
I mean, but listen, it's probably not going to have any of my favorite characters in it, so there's that.
Probably not. All right. So, I gave you the first one there, Tim.
All right. Google launched Click to Play a couple months ago, but this week their Stadia offering got a big boost. They launched 11 new games that you can try on their platform. And to that, I have a question. Who's still using Stadia?
Well, that was my thought too. So here's how popular this is. I didn't even know they launched this. This was about 3 months ago. And it's a great service. It's called Click to Play. You don't have to log in. You don't have to have an account. You don't have to do anything. You can just click one of these games and play it. And it's timed, like any demo is. Most of them are an hour. Some of them are 2 hours. But you don't have to have anything. You can just try it. How they didn't market the hell out of this.
Because they're dummies.
To try to get people to come back to it and at least try it is beyond me. And they gave some great games that, if you haven't played them before, these were fantastic games to give them a try. And there's actually a couple on here I want to go play to see if I want to buy them. Because I've looked at Outriders about 35 different times and just haven't, had the gumption to buy it. I'm going to go try it on Stadia.
Lake looks pretty entertaining.
Yep. So the games they released were
Golf with Your Friends,
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, Far Cry Primal, Outriders, Golf with Your Friends, Lake, Deliver Us the Moon, The Falconer, Lumote, Through the Darkest of Times, and Death Run. That's a pretty damn good lineup.
So what I would say is that I would say the Far Cries and the Assassin's Creeds I kind of think are throwaways because at this point, who hasn't played those games?
Why own those? I'm going to own every Far Cry game.
If somebody wanted to play them,
I'm going to own every Far Cry game. That's the way it goes. I love those games.
But Outriders was pretty good. I'm thinking of the right game
Yeah,
with Outsiders. I'm
I've
pretty
looked at
sure.
Outriders
Yes.
about 4 different
Yeah.
times.
I'm
And
looking
so,
at the image. Uh, Alex and I started that game because it was. Was it included on Game Pass? I think it was in Game Pass when it first came out.
it might have been in Game Pass. Yeah.
That game was hard.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that later.
It was tough. Um,
Yeah,
but
Deliver Us the Moon looked really cool. I just never got a chance to try it. What was the other one? Oh, Lake. Lake looks good. It looks really
yeah,
good.
I might try Lake.
Yeah, and so like with well, I mean, we've both played Assassin's Creed, but you could play for 2 hours. We might get you through the tutorial, maybe. But
I'm going to tell you what Stadia needs to do. Stadia needs to take a page out of what Xbox just did. And they need to start putting thin clients in other devices.
yes.
If there was a Stadia app on Apple TV, for instance,
Yes.
I'd be more apt to play. Oh, by the way,
Well,
if anyone
it's coming to Samsung TVs, right? You're just gonna be able to use your controller.
But I think the issue that Microsoft is going to run into is like you're kind of limiting yourself to people who have just bought like TVs in the last couple of years. The 4K Apple TV can run that client. It is powerful enough.
Yep.
To run that client. They both need to get their apps on Apple TVs. And I think they would get more people that were willing to play. Now, you're going to have to do the thing where people have to buy the games outside of the app so that they exist in their library and they're not paying for them through Apple. Yes,
right, but that's the joy of this click to play. Even if you get to play it for an hour, you can try it and see if you like it. Like, I wish I'd have had that for the game I'm going to review today because I wouldn't have bought it. But, their list on click to play it's amazing. It's really good. There's got to be 70 games on here that you can play for up to at least an hour. Some of them are 2 hours.
What we are seeing, I think, in the last year, is I think the death of consoles. I think consoles will exist for people who have a desire to play games at the highest quality with all the bells and whistles.
See, I think consoles will still exist for people that don't have the infrastructure to play games on a...
Yes. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There is going to be a segment of society who will always be limited,
now,
not by their pockets, but by their bandwidth.
Having said that, here's the problem with consoles is, I was talking to somebody else the other day, and they do not have a high bandwidth connection. They have like I think it was 50 or 75 meg, something like that. And it took them almost 2 days to download the patch for the game they just bought. There's no way you should have to
and
wait
in a lot of
game.
those places where that is also an issue, a secondary issue that they run into is that they do not have unlimited
Yes. Yep. They don't have unlimited bandwidth.
They get capped, and so trying to download an update for a game could run you over the cap that you have for the month. Yeah, definitely an issue.
Yes, and then
I was actually talking to one of my former coworkers, who was in one of those places where having good internet was an issue, and he signed up for Starlight.
Oh yeah.
And I was asking him if he had gotten his Starlight box because I have another friend who has gotten their Starlight box, and he was saying no, but his provider had begun offering 100 over 100 for $80 a month.
Wow.
And I said, and I chuckled,
wow.
and I said, I get gigabit for that.
Yep.
And he was like, "Are you serious?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Yep." I was like, "Now listen, he's still in a much better place than he was.
He is.
He's probably still playing less than he would for Starlight for that same amount of bandwidth."
Yep, definitely.
But yeah,
No, is it
is
DSL?
No, I think it's
No,
cable.
it's cable.
I think it's cable.
So, and this is where I sort of think broadband wireless is gonna hit. If we can get enough 5G out to the world and not swamp it completely,
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll help a whole lot of people with this issue.
Yeah,
because you can put up a tower fairly easily, a whole lot easier than running fiber and cable to people's houses.
that is definitely true. You just need to be able to have the consistency.
Yeah. God, this click the playlist is amazing.
Listen, I know what you're going to be doing.
Just amazing. Alrighty. So Blizzard. What are we gonna do?
Blizzard.
Blizzard Entertainment is officially ending new content development for its MOBA, Heroes of the Storm, and will instead focus solely on keeping the game running smoothly with seasonal roles, hero rotations, bug fixes, balance updates, and more. I don't understand this. I don't understand what it is about HOTS that Blizzard doesn't like.
What it is about what?
HOTS. Heroes of the Storm. Sorry.
HOTS. I mean...
MOBAs are a huge genre of games. This had a whole huge esports following to it. People loved it. I even enjoy. I don't really like MOBAs that much, and I enjoyed this one. This one was fun. So I'm not sure why this is being done this way through Blizzard.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the issue is probably not so much critical acclaim and whether people like the game, but that the game is not bringing in the amount of money that Blizzard wants to see for the amount of money that they're putting into upkeep. I mean, because here's the thing: they are not going to throw away good money, right? So if the money was right, we continue to see it.
This had a huge esports following now. How does that not make money?
I don't. Well, look. I mean, let's think about Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter 4 had a huge following, right? They stopped support for 4, went to 5, made less of it. They made it only for Sony. They didn't even make it for Xbox. I mean, they just kind of shot themselves in the foot with it. I don't know that following always equates to money. And I haven't played this game. Is this game free to play?
Yes, but there are lots of cosmetics and stuff that you can buy in it.
But yeah, but then I mean that still also means people have to buy it.
They don't have to buy them. They're all
No,
cosmetics.
no, no, no. I mean they have to buy them for Blizzard to recoup any money. So if
Yes.
people are playing the game but they are not buying the product, that's going to be problematic for them.
I think they were. I thought it was doing well too. It just, and it hasn't been that long. That was the thing that I was actually surprised about. This is it's only been 6 years since it was released.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know.
So
I
I
mean,
know.
it's an interesting conundrum.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's almost like there's something else behind this one that we don't know anything about.
Well,
Like
could be
this
for
was
sure.
somebody's baby at Blizzard, and they're not
Maybe that
there
person
anymore,
left.
and
They were like, "All right, well, they left. We're done."
we're moving to Overwatch for that esports thing, and just said not gonna do it.
Yeah, and well, here's something else. This could be this could be a Microsoft thing, like on the low key.
Maybe, yeah, that's
They
possible.
know that this is not something that Microsoft wants to continue with.
As long as that deal goes
Uh,
through,
how that deal's gonna go through?
UK is not happy about it.
They'll figure it out.
Probably.
I mean, and listen, I'm
Even
gonna
if
be
they have
honest
to
with you.
spin something off,
I
they'll do
don't
it. They'll
even
get
know
it done.
why they are not like what is their hesitation?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember why the UK is all up in
I would
arms
ask them, are they happy with the harassment that is
with
going
it.
on?
Yeah, really. I think that's the truth. Although, from the few people that I know that are associated with Blizzard, apparently it is much better. Much better
Yeah,
now.
I'm just irked that old boy is gonna still get.
And be on the board, which is really, 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 really.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, me either.
Um, I don't like it. I get it.
But at least
I
he's
get it.
not really in charge anymore, so.
Yeah, that's what they want us to believe, that he's not really in charge. I don't know that I believe it, but I get that's what they're telling us. Hopefully, if he is still in charge, they've put enough layers
Yes.
between he and the poor people that you know, it won't be as bad as it was before.
Yes.
But he
Hopefully,
he ought to be taken out.
I personally thought he should have been gone immediately, but who am I?
Sometimes that's the way these contracts work.
Yeah.
You can't get them out as fast as you want. What is that? The
Speaking,
Rolling Stones? You can't
always get what you
what you
want.
want. Yeah. So
It's been
that's
almost 3 years since the last in-person BlizzCon in 2019. Oh my god! In 2020, BlizzCon was canceled due to COVID-19 pandemic. However, this was replaced by BlizzCon Line in February of 2021, which was awful. There's been no in-person BlizzCon since then, and the BlizzCon Line 2022 event was also canceled. Many fans were hoping for a 2022 in person, but it was canceled once again due to the lawsuit that came out. However, in the first news we've heard of an in-person BlizzCon since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, Mike Ibarra told the LA Times that we are committed to bringing back BlizzCon in 2023. So, I know you're not that into Blizzard, but think of it as in con terms. Are we ready for this big conference with a lot of people all together in one spot?
San Diego Comic-Con starts this weekend.
Are we ready for Comic-Con?
Um,
Man,
I think
I've just gotten
I
over
think
not
there's a
wearing a
very
mask.
large I think there's a very large portion of our population that is very ready.
I think it's only been the
Um,
last 2 or 3 weeks that I, you know, haven't been
well,
wearing a mask going into a store. It just,
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm still
man,
wearing my mask going to the stores. Um, it's tough. Um, but I think the world is going to reopen. I think it needs to reopen, right? Um, what I say to people is like, if there are things that you want to do, and it means you got to go out in front of large amounts of people, um, get yourself a good KN95 or N95 mask. They are in much better supply
yep.
than they were at the beginning, and you gotta
And
you know
they're relatively inexpensive too nowadays.
get your shots. If
Yep.
if you're willing to take a vaccine, take the vaccine. Get your booster. I'm gonna ask my doctor if I can get the second booster.
I
If
got the
that's
second booster.
if I am
I'm no
allowed.
man. I'm allowed to get the
Yeah.
booster because I'm no man.
So yeah, I mean, listen, the world is gonna open back up, and I think you're going to see more and more people that aren't wearing masks. Will and I went to go see Thor
Mm-hmm.
Sunday.
Yep.
I paid for an extra seat. I bought a buffer seat. Um, and at Alamo, historically, there have still been large amounts of people that wear masks in the movie theater. It was always somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-40, 70-30 once.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think there was anybody wearing masks in that movie theater yesterday besides Will and I.
Huh. See, no. I think in a movie theater, if there were people there and knowing Alamo that probably was busy, I would probably still wear a mask in that situation.
I mean, I put my mask on once I finished. Like, I kept my mask on until we started eating.
Yep.
Of course, you can't have a mask on while you eat. And then when I finished eating, I put it back on. But yeah, I think the world is just going to open back up, and um, if you're going to still be out, you're going to run into large amounts of people that aren't wearing masks. Listen, when I was in Raleigh, like, you get below Richmond,
Mm-hmm.
South.
Yep. No, yeah.
Man, listen, these folks live different.
They haven't even heard of the word mask.
They live different. I was
Haven't
now
even heard of the
I
word
was
mask.
I was staying with a buddy, hanging out, and a lot of what we did while I was there surrounded either eating or drinking, and we were outside a lot of the time. Um, but like, even when we go inside, like, we went to a brewery and we sat outside and drank, and like, even going back inside to get
Mm-hmm.
like another beer or whatever. Like, hey, most people ain't wearing masks down there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you and I went to a cookout this past week, and nobody wore masks, but we were outside most of the time,
yeah,
and it was with people we knew. So
and thankfully,
for the most
to
part,
to my knowledge, no one has
nobody got sick from it
nobody's
that I
gotten
know
sick.
of it.
So yeah, listen, I think people can take the precautions that they feel are necessary.
I did contact my
Um,
tattoo artist though. The
did you?
one that well I was told about at the party. I got in touch with them, so we'll see what comes of
Yeah,
that.
listen. And I wouldn't be. I mean, like, I'm sure some of these tattoo artists are like, "Yo, wear your mask." When
Look,
I go
when
to
I
my
go to do that, I
chiropractor,
will wear a mask.
it's not an option. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, he's like, "Yo, you gonna wear a mask?" I'm like, all right, I ain't got no problems with it.
Yeah, it was. So this past week, I went to the doctor because I had to get just a regular checkup. I had to get my um prescription refilled, and I had to wear a mask. Everybody in the doctor's office had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's there's some places. I think it's sort of maybe the type of establishment because last weekend we went to our favorite side of the road dive diner and nobody had a mask on. Not a soul. And
Is
you
this
are
also my favorite side of the road dive diner?
Yorkshire?
Oh no, no, no! I've not been there. People keep telling me I should go.
Oh my god, the food
Now
is
listen, I think
amazing.
restaurants are a funny place because like at some point during your time there in the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to take your mask off because you can't
Yeah,
eat with a
you
mask
gotta
on,
take it off
right?
eating. Yeah.
So like, I mean, I used to like when my buddy Ben and I we go to Foster's every other week, and I like used to wear the mask in until I got my beer in front of me, and I was just like, well, listen, the same people that are sitting in front of me while I'm waiting for my beer are going to be still here when I get it, and I'm
Yep.
drinking. So like you know, all through like COVID, since we've opened the world back up. Like Foster's has kind of been the time where I've been like, kind of rolling the dice here. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Beck and so speaking of Foster's, Beck and I went the other night for lunch or dinner. I don't even remember. But have you been up there lately?
I was there last week. No, week before last I was there.
Oh, they might not have had it then. So they have a new beer. It's by Three Notched. It's a one of their Nephilim series. It's a lemon drop. It is freaking phenomenal.
I
Like
don't know if I had that or not. I don't. That doesn't ring a bell
I'm
to me.
serious. This is one of the best tasting beers I've ever had. It is
All right,
that
well,
good. It
I don't know if I'm going to end up. Well, actually, I technically we should be going this week, but I don't think we are. We're going to end up pushing till next week. Um. So yeah, I don't know. I would like
yeah.
to try that. It sounds tasty.
So out there, if you get a chance and you get to try this Three Notched Nephilim series batch 3 lemon drop, it's
All right.
is great. Really, really good. Okay, so
Sounds
yeah,
delicious.
BlizzCon sounds like a blast. Gotta be fun. I mean, if you're gonna go to one, that's the one to go to. The one
Now,
that's gonna happen after 3 years off. But
here's the thing I will say about that. It's where do they normally do BlizzCon?
Anaheim.
So you're going to be in California.
Mm-hmm.
They might require people to wear masks indoors. I mean, and that is
maybe,
always
and
the thing. The vendor could say, "Listen, you need to wear. Everyone has to wear a mask inside."
Yep.
I mean, I don't think if I don't think barring some crazy downturn or I guess I should say uptick in cases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think by the time 2023 comes, I would be shocked if we are back in masks.
Yeah,
I'd be
I will
absolutely
be too.
shocked.
I will be
If
too.
we're back in mandatory masks. I am sure that there will be some folks at BlizzCon who will still wear masks.
My wife and I say we are never getting on a plane again without a mask on.
Really?
Never.
Never? I think it would depend on how long the flight is.
Every time we've been on a plane, we've been sick.
Fair
every
enough.
time.
I mean, listen, the air on a plane is some of the filthiest air.
Yeah, they claim it gets recycled every 3 minutes. They're full of shit. There's no way that air gets recycled. Every time we get on a plane, one of us is sick afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But listen, especially if they do something that's non-Blizzard in conjunction with BlizzCon, like something more globally gaming related, I'd be really interested in going.
I would love to go to E3 sometime.
But you know what? I feel like E3 isn't even what E3 used to be anymore.
It would have been what it was before, you know?
Yeah, I think all the manufacturers have basically kind of stopped doing.
Well, it was Gamescom this year, right?
Yeah, Gamescom is still a big one. So that would have been
fun. So that would be cool to go to.
But like Microsoft could really make
Well,
decision that they don't need E3.
Well, they could have their own conference,
Right, they could have
they
their
have
own
half the
conference,
games
and yeah,
being done anyways.
I think Gamescom and E3 we may see become more publisher focused in their presentations as opposed to platform focused.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, maybe if somebody's got a new console or something coming out, but as we've said, I don't know how much more of that new console rollout that we're going to see.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. I would also like to go to what is it? Penny Arcade? Is that the?
Aren't they a comic thing?
No, there used to be a con surrounding Penny Arcade. I thought.
Well, okay,
There was an expo.
Two
PAX.
big ones I would love to go is Comic
PAX
Con.
East.
I'd love to go to Comic Con. I'd like to go to Dragon Con sometime.
What's Dragon Con?
That's role playing. It's in Atlanta.
Okay.
It's basically a big old nerd con. It's everything and anything. There's podcasting. There's, influencers. There's games, tabletop, all of it. It's all there.
Let me tell you, I went to Blurred Con last weekend.
Yeah.
That was an experience. It was a good time.
Speaking of cons and things, I finally checked out the comic shop here, the new one, Echo Base.
Oh yeah. What'd you think?
Finally got in there. It's a nice little shop. I mean, it could have more.
Yeah, I mean it's a smaller. They have more of a full size store out in Burke, which is called Toshi Station. Yeah, it's a nice little shop.
It's a nice little shop.
Yeah, it's a nice, like, if somebody needed an LCS like in that area, like center, because I don't know until you get out to Toshi and Burke, I don't know, or you go. Shoot, I can't even think of a shop. Well, no, there's a shop. There's a couple shops in Manassas. So it kind of sits in a nice place where, like, if you're a comic buyer or you like toys and whatever, yeah, it sits in a nice place where you don't have to go too far.
Yeah, I found a nice copy of Sandman, which I've been itching to pick up. So,
okay, that's sweet.
All right, man. I think you have the next one.
Supermassive Games is known for its interactive horror narratives, including 2015's Until Dawn, the Dark Pictures anthology, and more recently, The Quarry. This week, Eurogamer reported that the Danish company Nordisk Games acquired the studio.
So, if Nordisk sounds familiar, it's
That's
because we talked about this last couple months ago, probably about 6 months ago. They bought Avalanche Studios, which did Just Cause.
Oh, okay. I've played a little Until Dawn, and when I say a little, I mean a little. Yeah, I don't know. This one didn't move a needle for me a whole lot, but
Just Cause is a good game. I enjoy it. I enjoyed that.
I mean, it seems that we are continuing the consolidation of game studios.
But so I really put this in so we could actually talk about that. We're seeing. I think we talked about this, like on the third episode, about how we see 4 or 5 huge game studio conglomerations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all our games are going to come from that. It has its good points and it has its bad points. You don't sort of get the innovation that you would get if you have a whole bunch of little studios, but you're going to get more polished and probably more quantity of games. So,
listen, I think here's the thing that, like, the community has to consider. We are always going to see new indie game studios because There will always be creators that have a game that they want to make, and they're going to make a small studio and they're going to make that game. And they may either be successful enough that they continue to make the games that they want, or maybe the game will be a success and they're going to take that opportunity to cash in and get a bigger machine behind them, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it kind of depends on where the initial money came from, right? If you're a startup and you've got investors, and those investors are looking to recoup what they've put in, then sometimes a sale is what you have to do. Um, so, but I don't think people should lose heart that like the indie community is going to go away because these studios keep getting bought up. I think they're going to keep replenishing themselves.
Yeah,
And then
I don't think we've seen the end of indie games by any means.
no, by far.
Especially the world we live in, right? Where you can self-publish, and we have the Steam
Hmm.
platform, and we have, you know, we have this new pre-release thing where you can buy the game and
Yeah,
basically play it while they're still making it, type of stuff. So there's a lot of vehicles for indie developers to use. I know that Microsoft has indie um, vehicles for them to get funding
yeah,
to work on games. So, and I think Nvidia has the same thing. They have, and actually Amazon does too, right? They have their,
yeah. I think all the platforms are
yeah,
doing their due diligence to bring in indie games. Listen, indie games are great for
yep,
console manufacturers because they typically make games that you're not asking the consumer to spend $60 on.
yeah. I think
Um,
that's the good thing, right? Is because I bought
yep.
that one moving westward. I think that was like $10, and it was a blast.
Right.
It
Right.
was
Yeah.
weird and funny and quirky and cute and it was fun. Wasn't very
That's all you can
long.
ask for.
Wasn't very long, but it was only $10. So great deal. So let's see, what do we got here? All right. Now to our list. We always have to have a list. Around here, we love a good story. Gameplay is important, but without a good narrative to hold it all together, the whole thing gets old quick. But what about the games that get old later? The ones that go on a bit too long or started out good but just sort of fell off the cliff? Well, here's a list of them put out by What Culture that overstayed their welcome.
Mm.
So, I couldn't agree with. So I took a look at the whole list, and I pretty much agree with them. I definitely agree with the top one.
Oh,
But
I know you do.
but one that's not on here is Horizons. Zero Dawn
Mm.
was a good game. It went on way too long. I mean, way too long. Even if you didn't do any of the side quests, it was too freaking
So
long.
here, okay. So here's the thing for me. I I have a hard time knocking a game because it's long, right? Because as a consumer, I feel like you're giving me value for my money. Unless the game sucks, right? If you're not an engaging game and you are ridiculously long, that's a little more problematic for me. But if the game is continues to be engaging, I don't really mind that it's long. So, for instance, Valhalla, I haven't finished Valhalla because I spent so much time playing Odyssey. But I wasn't mad about the length of Odyssey. It was just long, but like, hey, I got my money's worth. You know what I mean? Like I got a lot of entertainment out of that time. And I kind of like that, you know? Um Give me my money's worth.
So the first their number 10 game is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I actually didn't think Valhalla was too long. It was I still felt like I was getting more powerful as the game went on. Even if when I got to the end, I felt like I was still getting upgrades. That was my problem with zeroed on is I got to a point where nothing was an upgrade. I could get different things, but it wasn't helping me with the game anymore. I just was going through and doing the same thing at the end. So
I
and,
would
you
I
know,
would make an argument that in looking at this list, I don't know how you don't make the same argument for a game like Breath of the Wild.
I think Breath of the Wild, I don't know if it was too long.
Oh, it was stupid long.
It was too long. And I'll give that one the
It was a
same
great
problem.
game.
It was a great game for about the first 2/3 of it. And then it was like, you should have ended it here.
And listen, I will say for that game, one of the only saving graces for that game for me of its length was the fact that they put out that, like, I hadn't finished the game by the time they put out the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
So the DLC drove new interest for me.
Right. Did it give you anything
Even though
to
it
help you in
lengthened
the
the game for me, it it allowed me not to really dwell on the fact that, like, yo, this game's long as hell.
Yeah.
I didn't play
Right,
Andromeda.
Yeah, so let me I'll tell you what. I was gonna go through each one, but I'll roll through the list. So number 10 was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Mass Effect Andromeda was 9. Mass Effect was Andromeda was just a bad game. Period. Just
That seems to be the general consensus.
Batman Arkham Knight was 8. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End.
Can I go back to Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
Arkham Knight had some gameplay issues for me, specifically driving the car, which I thought was terrible in that game.
Yeah.
But I don't think Arkham Knight is even the longest game in that series.
I don't think it is.
I think Arkham City is longer than Arkham Knight. It just plays smoother.
Yeah, I think their problem with that one is
and it had a terrible ending. Arkham Knight ended terribly.
Yeah.
With that stupid car chase.
But it was so bad having to drive the Batmobile around to places. It was just and so that's one where the story was good. It got going, and then there's a bunch of bad guys you have to kill.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you got to drive the Batmobile somewhere else to go kill another bad guy, a whole bunch of bad guys. So that one started out well, and the story just sort of
fell apart. Yeah,
fell apart and didn't go anywhere. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. I can't comment on that because I didn't play it.
Did you watch the movie?
I have not seen the movie.
I actually might turn the movie on.
That's one I should watch.
Play. It's actually, like, a lot of people knock that movie. I thought that, especially for someone who wasn't, like, enthralled with the games, I thought the movie was really good. It had great arcs. Wahlberg and Tom Holland were really good together. And I thought it was a really good movie.
That's the thing about the Uncharted games is the story's really good.
Yeah. I always knock Uncharted. It's a Tomb Raider ripoff to me. But
actually, this might be the one that I quit. I know there was one Uncharted game that I was like, I'm not doing this. Because you don't play as Nathan.
Oh, I don't remember if that's 4. That might be 4.
Okay, so now I understand this one because it's just bad. The story just never goes anywhere.
No, it's not 4. I don't think. There's a game where there's an Uncharted game where the main characters are women.
Yes, that's it.
But
And
I
it had nothing to do with
don't.
them being women. It just had to be that it never went anywhere. Just the
No,
story.
it's that's Lost Legacy, which comes out after 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't play Uncharted 4. I only ever played the first couple, so
I think Will
can't
played
talk
4
about
and
that one.
liked it.
After that was Mafia 3.
Never.
Never played any of the Mafia games.
Nope.
Can't do it. The next one I agree with wholeheartedly, 100%. The next one is Days Gone. That was number 5.
Is that the one with the guy from Walking Dead,
Yes.
Norman
No.
Reedus?
That's Stranding. Days Gone is the zombie one. But
Or does it have a Norman Reedus like character?
it has a like character. Yeah. Yes. And basically you are him. You're riding around on a motorcycle killing zombies, and there are just hordes and hordes of zombies all the time, and there's no story. Well, there is. It's a loose story about capturing towers and stuff, but it's just
Yeah,
man.
I passed on that. Oh, and it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Yep.
So yeah,
nah. Number 4 was The Evil Within.
Oh, that's right up your alley, Don.
It was up my alley.
So you did play it?
I did play it.
Yep. Oh, I figured because it was a horror game, you would have skipped it.
Nope. No, and so this is really funny. Those games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill and I love those. I love those games.
That's another movie that you should watch, Don. The new Resident Evil.
I heard the new one is really good.
The new one is really, really good. I was shocked.
See, I have to watch those
at
by
the movie
myself.
theater that I enjoyed it.
I have to watch those by myself. I'm not allowed to do horror or scary with Beck. She give her nightmares for weeks.
Oh well, yeah. Don't let her watch that one then, because
yeah,
that ain't gonna work out well.
So after that was number 4 was The Evil Within. I did not play that. Or no. Yeah, I did play that.
Dark Souls.
Sorry. Number 3 is Dark Souls 2. I did not. I think.
You have to be a sadist to like those games.
I think I played Dark Souls 1, and isn't it super freaking hard?
Isn't the first one Demon Souls, and then the second one is Dark Souls?
Maybe, right? whatever the first one was.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. I don't get down with those.
All right, so number 2, I'm gonna let you expand on. It's Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
I love this game.
I'm not sure I played this one.
Okay, so this is
what's the one that just came out?
Phantom Pain.
Oh,
that's the most recent Metal Gear game.
Oh, I loved it
with Shadow.
That game was great.
I didn't even think it was long.
I don't understand it being on the list at all.
I didn't think the game was long.
Is that the one with the last one is you're standing on the wall trying to kill the big buggy dude that's coming at you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a wall or a mountain, the side of a mountain or something.
Yeah, and you got to run back and forth between the two turrets.
Yeah. That fight
been out long
pissed
enough.
me off.
You people, what's spoilers?
So that game pissed me off, but I thought it was a great game. I loved all the little upgrades.
Yeah,
playing stealth.
Yeah, and the one boss where you had to shoot him in the pool, freeze him in the pool, and then shoot him and run around the back of him, and
that I don't recall.
It was a pain in the ass until you figured out the.
Did you use Shadow in that game?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
Did you capture Shadow? She was the girl. She was the female sniper.
Yes.
Who was very scantily clothed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought
the
that
weirdo
was a really
that is
good
Hideo
game.
Kojima.
And I didn't think it was too long either.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one's. Why don't they like it? All right, okay, so now we got to find out why they didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, are you looking it up?
I'm going, yeah. I got to get there. That's Dark Souls, Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, it's one of these pages that does this bullshit.
Yeah, I hate this crap. How big it was?
Oh, it was just too big of a map?
After completing the drawn out hour-long prologue sequence, the prologue was long in this.
Prologue
so I will
was.
say this.
I forgot what I was playing by the time I got to the end of the prologue.
Yes.
And I was like, hold on. How is this going to turn into. But I never felt like the game was long.
I didn't either. And even though you had to drive the stupid sled to different places.
Oh, yeah.
I never felt so like we just complained about in the Batman game, right? That it was a pain. You had to get in the Batmobile.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't drive a lot in that game. I jumped out of helicopter.
But this one, you had to drive that stupid sled.
Sometimes, yeah.
From place to
place. But
it
wasn't a requirement for movement.
Bad. It wasn't that terrible to do that.
No, I like that game. If I spent 45 hours on that game,
I don't think I spent 45 hours.
I would be shocked. And but again, I am not a person who
I don't mind
gets
a game being
upset
long
because the game is long.
It's engaging.
Right. I mean, Will and I were talking to the guys in East Starland
for 16 years. I mean, I don't mind a game being long.
We were talking about the guy was wanting to know whether he should buy the second Spider-Man game. And Will was like, it's just so short. Like, it's a great game, but you are not getting you're not getting your money's worth out of it. Oh, I thought if I looked it up in the app, it would tell me how long.
Yeah, I'm almost positive I don't have 45 hours in that game, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I wish they would do a better job of like letting me be able to look at stats. And I might be able to look if I actually had it open on the
Xbox.
Yeah, but yeah.
And the last one on the list, I agreed with their assessment completely, wholeheartedly. The Last of Us Part 2.
Man, I still haven't finished the first one.
So, this is not saying that this isn't a great game. This was a great game with a great story that should have ended. And it didn't. That was the thing. They didn't need the epilogue portion of this. I thought it took away from the impact of the story and took away from the game and took away from how meaningful that was. It should have just ended there. And I agree with this 100%. So, yes, games have been, we know we're spoiling behavior selves. So,
are there people complaining about spoilers?
No, but this has been out long enough. Stop it. So, at the end of this, the two main characters meet and they have their main battle, right? And it ends. And then you leave and you pick up like a year in the future after going after the same character. No, stop it. Stop. It ended right there. You want to make another game that, a year in the future? Fine. Have another game where those still are the two the two main players in the game, but yeah, it just should have ended there.
Great game. I haven't finished them. One day, Will's actually trying to convince me. I guess they're doing another remaster of the first game. Way to milk it right
Yes.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's like, "Oh, you should buy it," and I'm like, "Eh,
Oh yeah.
I didn't play the first one."
What was just Prime? So yeah, today's Prime Day. You listen to this later, you missed it. But what was the one? Oh, Mass Effect remastered. The remastered Mass Effect.
Mhm.
They gave that away for Prime Day today. Amazon
Like for
did
free.
for free.
Oh,
Go to Amazon. It's on the Amazon Prime. Yep.
like they gave away the physical game?
Yeah. Well, not the physical game. You have to download it, but it's, you know.
Man, I guarantee you that thing's not still.
So, and that was their top one. The Last of Us Part Two. I pretty much agreed with that. That was
Um, yeah, I'm not seeing nothing free, sir. Was it just for the Luna?
no, nope. Amazon Prime Games. All right.
Maybe
So,
I'm.
so while Tim is looking for that, I will do my game review. So back, Cyberpunk was on sale for $5. This was like 6 months ago at Best Buy, and I had coupons for like $15, and it wouldn't let me use them because it was my coupons were more than the game. So I picked up Elden Ring and said I'll play this at some point in time because everybody was ranting and raving about how good it was. So I finally got a chance this week to sit down for a couple hours and fired it up. And it may be an amazing game. It may have an amazing story. And I know this publisher is known for this, but I didn't think it could be that bad. It's that bad. It is atrociously hard and punishing. It's if you die, you have to go back and collect things off of your body. You lose things when you die. If you try to melee just about anything in the game, you have to be you have to be pointed within a couple of degrees directly at it to hit it. It was I I mean, I have the reaction time, of a tree sloth, so it didn't work real well for me, and I almost couldn't do it at times. I did find that if I played a magic user, I could kite things around and kill them. I mean, but who wants to spend hours upon hours kiting enemies? Just
People love
isn't
this
any
game.
fun. People love it. It is hard as hell, and it's punishing when you die. I don't understand why they don't give you. I even like just let me turn it down a little bit. If the make it make it adaptive. If it sees that I'm dying every 30 seconds, make it a little easier. I don't have to pick story mode, but make it a little easier so it's easier for the person who's playing. That really is my gripe with the game. I actually don't know if it's a good game because I couldn't get far enough into it to know anything
That's
about
terrible.
it. It was
Who's the developer for that game?
um um oh do Bandai, but it's From Software, which is they're notorious for making exceptionally hard games, and that's fine for somebody that wants that. I think you're missing a whole group of people that would love to experience the story in the game if you just made it a little easier, gave a normal setting, or made it adaptive, one or the other. So I really can't give it a rating because I don't know if it's any good or not because I couldn't get through it. But my point is that it just should have had a story mode or an easy mode to it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So I and then I feel, and here's where I feel like I wasted the money, right? Which is never a good feeling with a game, and then that turns me off. I probably wouldn't ever buy another one of their games.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So if one of you guys want to borrow it, let me know.
What console did you buy it for?
Let's say PlayStation, but I don't remember.
Yeah, well, I won't be asking to borrow it, sir.
You need a PS5.
I do not.
You do. You need.
Listen, I have not even sure I'm rehooking up the PS4.
Oh yeah, I gave my PS4 to my future son-in-law.
Oh, that's nice. Does he have time to play video games?
No, not at all.
Does his fiance allow such recreation?
Oh, she's the bad. She's the one that led World of Warcraft raids, and
does she still play?
No. You know what she's really good at? Mario Kart.
I could see that.
She's stupid good at Mario Kart.
I could see that.
Alrighty, folks. Well, that's a show. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to reach out and contribute to the show in any way, please email us at joystickandmouse@gmail.com. If you want to learn about Jade Imes or myself, head over to joystickandmouse.com. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt or any other paraphernalia, please head over to shop.joystickandmouse.com. And until next time,
take it easy.
And we will see you later, folks. Bye now.
If you like this show, check out more great content at incastmedianetwork.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
And that's right.
That's a show.
That's a good show.
I'm telling you, we need to do that Game of Thrones episode.
We should do Game of Thrones. Well, okay, but you know what? We'll do a one-off and do a. We'll get.
I have thought about rewatching
and get a Game of
the
Thrones.
whole show. Probably starting at season 2. I really don't have a desire to rewatch season 1 of that show.
What's wrong with season 1?
I don't know. I mean, my man Ned gets beheaded.
All right. Good night. No, let's say good night.